this was a day that was sure surprising. Kelsey testified today, and oh boy, was it a good one. She was spot on for the most part. She had her answers ready, was direct. There wasn't a lot of hemming or humming or anything else. There was some emotion, and yes, of course. It's actually pretty cool. She started getting a little wishy, and then without even being asked, the court reporter sneaks over some tissues for her. That was pretty cool on him. Um, she totally destroyed Super Trooper. He had more stories coming up, and he actually then came out with um, he had to protect everybody downstairs because he figured she was going to take the gun and run down and shoot douchebag. Where did that come from? Anyhow, things that came out that I wasn't aware of, but they actually not only did douchebag in his restraining order want the baby, wanted her dog. He wanted her dog, baby and dog. So she's, in a moment's notice, she finds out, the loser's a loser and breaking up with him. He's got an RO on her ass. He wants the baby, and he wants the dog. And he has the cops show up to deliver the message. He didn't have the balls to say, hey, honey, we're breaking up. And they have, a honeymoon in 4 months, which isn't coming up. But, you know, she did such a fantastic job. Uh, her lawyer did some leading. There was okay, fine. Was kind of a little drawn out from the lawyer, her lawyer, but man, she just had the answers right there, and they came across as honest and clean cut. I mean, she didn't no hesitating, no hemming and hawing, like I just said, no the like let me think. Nah, it's like bang. And another surprise was how much she remembered from after being shot, on the ambulance ride and the helicopter ride and things like that. That I thought they would have probably, knocked her out with a painkiller or something so she wouldn't remember anything. But she's remembering all kinds of stuff, and that's going to stick with her for the rest of her life. So, not only is her whole day, her whole world gets changed within moments. Then she gets shot. Well, she goes to, she does admit she tried to kill herself or wanted to kill herself. And apparently, again, Super Trooper, who claims he, had the bead and, Mr. I got all the training in the world and I know what I'm doing, and apparently was not where, well, according to her, she was not where he says he was, which is probably would explain a lot as to how she was able to get to the gun. Because he wasn't there watching what she was doing. I don't know where he was. So that makes more sense in her story than the multiple stories told by Super Trooper. But anyhow, fantastic job. She did a fantastic job. And when they were done and Cross came up, the prosecuting attorney just had a couple of questions. He was totally dumbfounded. He had nothing really to ask. Just, right? Couple of questions, and then that's it. Didn't have anything to say. He was totally buffaloed by her. I mean, all of this effort for a court trial. And she finally testifies, and it's the prosecution's time to make their case. And he's like, don't have anything. Only asked a couple of questions at that, and I said, okay, I'm done. If you're gonna wuss out, why didn't you do something years ago? She was shot 53 days in a hospital, and then when she gets out of the hospital, didn't even get to go home to see her baby. She got sent to jail. where she was at for like 108 days or something like that, and then got out and got thrown back into jail again, all because she couldn't blow with a collapsed lung. Anyhow, let's try to make this short. Unbelievable case. She did fantastic. The judge said that he didn't even realize that if this was a if this was a jury case, that it did not have to be all 12 jurors unanimous. It was a percentage would do it. I don't know what the percentage was. I should have looked it up before doing it. Like had to be like 10 out of 12 or whatever the number had to be. It did not have to be a unanimous 12-person jury. So that gives the judge leeway. The judge is the one who decides because there is no jury. And the prosecution had to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. And some of the charges they wanted, remember, they couldn't get past a grand jury. And a grand jury's level of evidence is way down here. Way down. And a lot wouldn't fly past them. And they were supposed to have the field trip today where they were going to go to the house and judge gets to see, and then some of the witnesses or people, people just watching to come along, witnesses, not witnesses for the testimony, just audience would be a better word. After Kelsey testified, and prosecution kind of went, got nothing. Judge called him up, including Kelsey. Judge usually doesn't, judge calls the lawyers up, both sides, and the lawyers come running up. And he actually mentioned for Kelsey to come up. And they had a little chit chat. And when it was over, they came back, and the judge said, "Now, after everything's gone on, you really asking Kelsey's defense whether they still actually wanted to go on the field trip to the Kelsey's ex house, to see everything." The judge is saying, "Do you really want to do this? Do you think this is necessary? Do you really want us to go there? Do I have to go there?" I think that's a big hint from the judge that like we're going, do we really have to go there? The answer to the judge would be, no, sir, we're good. Don't have to go. And they didn't. They didn't. Court ended pretty early today by comparison because prosecution had nothing. We got nothing. So tomorrow, closing arguments by each side. It's supposed to be only 30 minutes each, which again tells me, the judge isn't giving them, okay, you get, an hour and a half, each and whatever. He said, 30 minutes. That should do it. Which kind of tips off the fact that I think the judge already has made a decision. And the judge also said afterwards, he wants a couple of hours to actually iron out the reasons why he's going to make his mind up to whatever he makes his mind up to. Showing his cards that I think he's already made his mind up. When the prosecution has the main witness on the stand, and here's the big moment, and they're like, we got nothing. But play poker against this guy. You'll win every time because anyhow, unbelievable. But great job, Kelsey. Great job, Kelsey. Get some therapy. You're going to need it because you've gone through a lot. You're not going to get any justice back. You've had to go through an ordeal. I hope in the next trial coming up, the family trial, I hope this victory, which I'm putting my money down on a victory here on her behalf here. She's going to walk from this one. And hopefully the judge comes down on the prosecution pretty hard for wasting everybody's time. For, such a unprofessional way of handling the whole, here's the chance to get a point on the board and self-goal and lost the game by it. I mean, all right. Anyhow, with the victory here, which I'm putting my money on the fact that I think the judge is already giving his hand out that he's awarding Kelsey, so she walks clean and free, and hopefully again get some counseling for all the troubles and stress and she's going through. But when family court comes up, the fact that a grand jury in the criminal case couldn't come up with a whole hell of a lot, it wouldn't support much of the charges, and when the actual criminal case came out, she was shown clean and free, proved innocent, and what's going to come out on douchebag? What has already come out in the court about douchebag? They got his being out, not an active fireman because he's under investigation. So for his drug use, alleged. So anyhow, we'll see what happens tomorrow. Very good, very well done, Kelsey. That was heartbreaking, heartwarming. Well done. Like I said, she blew the socks off the prosecution. They didn't have a rebuttal. They had anyhow. Points. Alrighty. See what happens. Vamos. Bye.